hope everyone is doing well. We're looking at a rather apprehensive one here. The user by the name of Doublekey sent me his action fantasy manga. It's called Age 1 Age of Darkness and asked me for a review. I've been looking so desperately for someone to review my comic, and I finally found this thread. I'd really love it if you had a look at my work. It's still very early on and there's plenty of arts coming in the future. So I appreciate if someone gave me a little shout out because I'm struggling to promote it. I also need some feedback because I'm still growing as an artist and I want to improve as much as possible. Thanks in advance. You're welcome. I already read all 4 chapters that were available at the time, and I'll be sharing my honest feedback to help you out, bro. I also got a chance to ask Double what inspired him to create his story. So watch to the end of that video for that awesome interview. Doublekey has been making comics since 2009, all the way to 2021, but it wasn't until 2020 that he started to take it more seriously. Before I get started with my review, let me read the summary for you guys. In an age where darkness reigns supreme and still terrorizes humanity, lives a family of poor farmers alongside their 4 children. After losing both their siblings in a terrible accident, Frederick and Nigel's lives changed forever. 3 years after their occurrence, they meet a strange individual, a bounty hunter named Kai Ho, who claims to know where their siblings are. The 2 brothers thus embark on a journey to find their siblings and save them from the clutches of darkness. My name is Imani. I love to talk about art and comics on this channel, and this is my review of Age 1 Age of Darkness. Yeah, spoilers will be here. First, we're going to talk about the pacing. The pacing of the story has a lot of drama, angst, and violence. Unfortunately, due to the many tragedies that occurred throughout the first 3 chapters, it felt rushed between those events. One of the biggest examples of the rushed pacing is the 3-year time skip. Part of the reason is the characters still feel the same. I would assume Double just wanted to develop the relationship between Frederick, Nigel, and their adopted father, because I don't see any other reason to add a time skip this early. I respect what Double was doing, but in my opinion, I will slow down the pacing and focus on developing the world and atmosphere that the characters live in, so I can feel how dark the times really are. The world building is being set in medieval times, and it's made clear in the story with the building designs, fashion, kings, queens, horses, and other details. The biggest complaint I have is the logic to the fantasy components. It will be interesting to know more about the world the characters live in. In fact, there's a lot of questions I have about the supernatural elements in Age of Darkness. One question that I asked myself was, are these unfortunate events only happening to the brothers, or is there some curse on humanity? Another question I had was in chapter 4, where the bounty hunter character Kai Ho started using magic, but the other characters in the story seem to sell it as if it was normal. I'm confused because we haven't seen a person use magic up until now. I think diving into the aspects earlier on in the story would benefit the world building. Sometimes you gotta ask yourself these questions. Is this the norm in their society of using powers like that? Think about your reader in these instances, because they're gonna pick up on it and ask these questions as well. Unless it's part of the plot and some big reveal, the other characters, minor or major, could help with the world building by setting the tone for how dark humanity has become. For instance, you could use wealth, abuse, politics, or something like that to convey your message. The theme of Age of Darkness is about the loss of family members, childhood trauma, and the effects that come with it, while at the same time still having hope in the world. That's a great thing to have, but as I mentioned earlier, it could be presented better and slowed down a little bit. Let it marinate in. Let your readers really feel the angst and emotion. When it goes on too fast, we become a little bit normalized. Now I'm going to talk about characters. The only characters I'll be reviewing are the 2 brothers, Nigel and Frederick. The rest of the cast doesn't have enough depth to them yet, so I have no comment. They're motivated to find out what happened with their sister and figure out what happened to their older brother Drake, that was possessed by darkness at the beginning of the story. When it comes to the character growth in Age of Darkness, one of the brothers keeps having consistent nightmares. I think it should be emphasized throughout their day. Side effects like insomnia may be one example of showing character growth. Design-wise, I don't see much of a difference between the brothers. I got them mixed up quite often. But the only thing that is different between the brothers is that I believe the older brother mentally progresses more than the younger one, and that's only because of the dialogue difference. Maybe you can make the younger brother more optimistic and try to forget the whole traumatic thing that happened in their past, while the older brother is more depressed and doesn't want to forget about anything. You can take it like this. One of them isn't able to look forward, while the other one can never look back. Age 1 Age of Darkness art style is heavily influenced by the monochrome Japanese manga style. The line work, however, starts off as sketchy and loose, but it gradually got better as I kept reading, and it's only going to get better. There's plenty of detail in the artwork, from the background to the special effects and blurry lines. The brothers, Nigel and Frederick, aren't well defined enough for me to tell them apart, as I mentioned earlier. Throughout the series, the tone has been there, it gradually gets better, it sets the mood for a darker series, definitely not lighthearted. The lettering is okay, but not professional looking. Sometimes the text size is inconsistent and hard to read. It isn't quite done professionally, but it's getting there, and I appreciate the effort. All I have to say is keep going, keep practicing, and keep researching. To conclude my whole review, the two things I would fix about Age 1 Age of Darkness are the characters and story pacing. Based on the synopsis of the story, I spend more time focusing on the events that happen with their family. Don't be afraid to drag that out as much as possible. It will help add more depth to the characters. In the next chapters, they go to an orphanage, and then they are thrown inside a dungeon. Okay, so going to the orphanage is fine, but being thrown into a dungeon that fast, I feel like those events just overshadow what happened with their brother Drake. I suggest moving that later down the series. I would keep the children in the orphanage for sure. And from there, Frederick and Nigel will go through the journey of nightmares and insomnia and all of the side effects that come with the trauma they witness, and really show how they interact with the other children in the orphanage. Can they make friends? Are they getting bullied? Things like that. Really drag that out some too. Maybe we get to learn about the other orphans in the place. What happened to them? Why are they there? That'll help build the world up some. With the brothers spending more time in the orphanage, that really helps us as readers see them grow as children without their parents and how it affects them mentally. It's really good pacing and character growth. Then later down the line, you can have them be thrown inside a dungeon and eventually picked up and live inside a castle. But all that happening right now is too fast. When it comes to the characters, my final conclusion on them is make them be a part of the world more. Make them feel as though the darkness has really struck them. Maybe they're poor people. Maybe there's a sickness, a disease going on in town. It's dark all around us. So really make the other characters explain that. Show us what they're going through. And yeah, those are my 2 cents. I hope you got something out of that. Thanks for allowing me to review your manga on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. I hope you continue to create stories and draw characters. You have plenty of talent. As promised, I told you guys I talked to Doublekey and asked him about his series, so I wanted to know his inspiration behind this project. I have many important sources of inspiration when it comes to Age 1 Age of Darkness. Most notably, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Hirohiko Araki's creation. The art style, the characters, and some parts of the narration have mostly been influenced by JoJo's. Even the main character itself, Frederick Kingstone, is meant to be somewhat of a tribute to the first JoJo, Jonathan Joestar. Other sources of inspiration for this series would certainly have to be Berserk, with its dark fantasy elements and some plot points that will come later in the story, and Attack on Titan, with its dark and tragic atmosphere. My Hero Academia also influenced me in some of the later parts, especially when it comes to the characters and narrative. Let's say there are also various Easter eggs for all the shonen/shonen fans. Be sure to read the full interview and support the series and creator. Their links are in the description below. What are your thoughts on this review? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. Hey, if you want to share your art or comics, this channel is going to be great for you. All you have to do is sign up to my free newsletter for a chance to get featured on my channel. My channel promotes visual artists and comic creators. Just go to www.madmoneyart.com/join. Be a part of the Mad community. Thank you, Sonya, for supporting my brand. If you're watching this, I really appreciate your support. Follow me at Mad Money Art across all social media platforms. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like and subscribe to my channel. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.